Hi everybody, my name is Leena Yousefi and I'm the founder of YLaw Group, a family law firm in beautiful British Columbia. In this episode, I wanted to talk to you about how to prove a common law relationship. More and more nowadays, couples decide not to get married and live together in a relationship such as common law. But at the time of separation, because you don't have a paper saying that you were married, disputes can arise with one person saying, we were never common law, we were just dating, and the other person saying, of course we were common law, we were like husband and wife. So in those situations, the problem becomes, were you common law or not? And to prove that, you have to be aware of various factors that the courts will consider. You may be surprised to hear that you may not even need to live with somebody under the same roof to be considered common law. Or you could be living with somebody under the same roof and not be common law. So the factors that we consider legally are different from what may be in your mind. The blog that we've done goes through a very detailed analysis of how to prove common law, but in this video blog, I'm just going to give you some tips in making sure that you're fully protected. Tip number one is that it's always best when you're getting into a common law relationship and before separation, you and your spouse talk about a cohabitation agreement or at least a declaration of common law. A cohabitation agreement is an agreement that lays out what's going to happen when you and your partner separate, such as what's going to happen to property, to spousal support, and so forth. And it's usually drafted during the common law relationship. It's always best to agree on things when you're together and you haven't separated, because there's going to be less conflict. But if you're not prepared to do that and you say we're in love, we don't want to talk about these things, which, by the way, I know emotionally you don't want to do it, but logically you should. If you're not prepared to go there, at the very minimum, you can do a common law declaration, which is basically a statement saying that as of this date, we have become common law, and you get that agreement either drafted by a lawyer or you even do it yourself, and you make sure that it's notarized and signed by both of you with a witness. If you can do that, then you never have to deal with proving whether you were common law or not. You have this agreement and that's the end of the matter. But in situations where you didn't do that and you have separated and somebody says we were never together, tip number two is some factors and evidence that you can use to prove that you were common law. The biggest one is if you guys declared each other as common law in your taxes. But you'll be surprised how many common law couples actually declare themselves as single in their taxes. And the reason for that sometimes is just pure tax, or people who are still married and they don't want to be, for tax purposes, they don't want to say common law, they want to say single. If you believe that you were common law, but in taxes it was declared that you or ex were single, that's not the end of the story. There are other factors that can prove that you were common law or in a marriage-like relationship. Those factors are as follows. Did you guys have a joint account? Did you guys take trips together? Did you guys have sex together? How did you refer to each other when you were at social gatherings or with other people? Do you have any witnesses that would say that you guys treated each other essentially as a married couple? Did you use the same shelter? Did you live together? And if you did, was it because of love or was it because of economical situations? Did you name each other as the beneficiary of your life insurance or RRSPs? Did your children refer to you or your ex as father, or how did they see the relationship between you and your ex? As you can see in the blog, I've cited a case where the couple never lived together, they kept separate finances, they declared themselves as single in their taxes, and a lot of other things that would point to them not being common law. But at the end of the day, the judge considered them to be common law, and you should read that case. It's very interesting. Tip number three is paying attention to what common law really means. Common law means living with somebody in a marriage-like relationship. So the starting point is you have to ask yourself, did my relationship with this person resemble a marriage? What is the difference between a couple that you see that you say, oh, they're just dating, and a couple that are married? there's a different feel to everything they do. You know, there's a different kind of unity and intermingling of many things, emotionally, sexually, financially, family-wise, relative-wise, and so forth. So what you're really trying to prove is not that, hey, I lived with this person for 2 years, therefore I'm in common law. The test is, regardless of how you lived and how you went about your affairs, did you guys resemble a married couple? And if you did, for more than 2 years, you're considered common law. Common law relationships are complicated, and proving that you are common law is a very, very complex task. So at a very minimum, I would suggest that you see a lawyer if this problem arises at the time of your separation, and you just get an assessment of you know, what your weaknesses and strengths are, and ideally you have a lawyer represent you. But in any event, the intention of this blog is just to give you some information so you can make the best decisions. If you have any questions or inquiries, please feel free to call us at 604-974-9529, and please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have a lot of information on there that can be of assistance, and thank you for watching this video. Bye.